This is the great Black Tie from Sankey Pro Rodeo and Phenom Genetics. Oh!
Black Tie could be the draw of the night.
Black Tie in Billings, Montana with Talon was definitely a highlight. Talon's a rookie. I don't think Talon's ever been on a horse of that caliber, especially a Black Tie in 2022. And he performed phenomenally. Talon did his job to a T, and Black Tie had as good of a day as I have ever seen. So Black Tie is a story about lineage, and so is Talon Elsher. His dad's a world champion Bronc rider. Talon knows when it's time to go. Even though he's a rookie, he was prepared. You could tell that he was a little more nervous than the times I'd seen him previously, but he was absolutely prepared and he was excited. All I told him was this is gonna be fun. The fact that he was who had that horse at that rodeo was great. Black Tie, Leighton Green, Filer, Idaho, Twin Falls County Fair, another 90-point Bronc ride. It was almost identical to Leighton's 90-point Bronc ride on Black Tie in Sheridan for the first 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, Black Tie got shorter, jumping higher in the air and shorter forward and kicking harder. So he got steeper and was kicking higher the further he went. And that ended up being another 90-point ride to win the Twin Falls County Fair. Sheridan YO 2022, first event back for Black Tie. It was nerve-wracking. You know, that horse has been through a lot, and nobody knew how this was gonna go. All the medical professionals assured us that this was gonna be fine. But the fact of the matter is that the horse has an injury, and he will always have an injury. And nobody in this industry has ever done this on a bucking horse, so we didn't know what to expect. Leighton Green had that horse, and he called me and he said, I'd really, really like to not have a really good one at this rodeo because I was supposed to go on a fishing trip. Well, you got a pretty good one. He said, well, how's he been? I mean, I heard you had surgery on him. I heard he was crippled. What's the story? We're gonna find out, Leighton. It's totally up to you. And so he didn't go on his fishing trip, and Leighton came to get on Black Tie, and it was electricity. Everybody in the building was looking to see what was going on. And with that much drama and that much buildup, just to see that horse perform at that level was spectacular. 2 strides, and as soon as the whistle blew, I knew he was back, and he was better than ever. And then as soon as he left the arena, I went and checked on him. He was just standing there with the leg cocked, happy, hanging out with all his buddies back there telling rodeo stories. At that moment, we knew Black Tie was back. We had a whole season left to go. Black Tie at Pendleton will be stuck in my mind forever. That rodeo is one of a kind. It's just like stepping back in time. It's just like going to another planet. It's totally different from every other rodeo everywhere. There's an aura, there's a feeling about it. When you're in Pendleton, it just seems like the world is a better place. Every horse performs differently in Pendleton because of the grass and because of the crowd and because of the bucket chutes and because of the feeling and the electricity there, especially on short round Sunday. And Black Tie was phenomenal. He was different at Pendleton than he's been anywhere else. He had some swoops, there were a couple of ducks in there, and those were worth more points. And then he stacked up and did his deal just like he did all summer everywhere else. But we hadn't seen him to the extent that we did with Tanner. It was fascinating. It was absolutely unbelievable. Every jump was better than the jump before. Leaping in the air and kicking directly over his head, throwing his head back, mane and tail everywhere. Tanner set his feet every single jump. He couldn't have rode that horse any better. Tanner and Black Tie were 92.5. Been waiting for the results to come out because there's been so much talk about it, but the fact that it actually happened seemed surreal for a long time. And I was actually talking to One of my best friends named Rocky Yasko, he said, repeat after me, which is always a bad idea when Rocky says anything. But I did, and he said, I, Wade Sankey, and so I said, I, Wade Sankey, I'll play along. I said, I, Wade Sankey, and then he said, raised black tie. I said, raised black tie, and he said, the 2022 world champion bucking horse. And it kind of hit home then, actually. Hate to give Rocky any credit, but it's just humbling, and it's just such an experience that, you know, if that horse never does another thing his entire life, as long as we get to look at him the rest of his life, you know, we're gonna love him, and he's gonna be part of the family. On behalf of Black Tie and the rest of Sankey Pro Rodeo and Phenom Genetics, thank you. Want to say anything?